I've always been captivated by the magic of the circus,
Hmm.
the lights, the spectacle, the awe-inspiring feats.
Yeah.
But you've sent us these materials on Circus Arts Teachers. And
All right.
I have to admit, I'm already realizing there's a whole universe behind the scenes that I never even considered.
Oh, absolutely. It's a profession that often doesn't get the spotlight it deserves. They're the hidden backbone of every daring act and breathtaking performance.
And it's definitely more than just teaching someone to,
Right.
juggle a few balls or something.
Oh, absolutely not. It's so much more than that.
The sources mention casting, directing, even technical production. Sounds like a pretty demanding role.
It is. Think about it. You might have this incredible trapeze act all planned out,
Right.
but then you find out the venue has a lower ceiling than you expected.
Oh, wow.
Suddenly, you're not just a teacher, you're a creative problem solver, an engineer, a choreographer, all rolled into one.
Wow, that's a great point. It's almost like they're running a mini theater company alongside the actual teaching.
Exactly. Casting students, directing rehearsals, figuring out costumes, managing lighting and sound.
Hmm.
It's a juggling act in itself.
So are we talking about all the typical circus acts? I mean, I saw trapeze,
Mhm.
juggling,
Yeah.
was that unicycling?
Unicycling, tightrope walking, you name it, they probably teach it.
Wow.
And don't forget object manipulation.
Object manipulation.
It's a whole world unto itself. Clubs, rings, even fire torches. They're not just tossing a ball in the air, let me tell you.
I'm on fire torches. Okay, now the risk assessment part of this job is really starting to make sense. But it's incredible how much variety there is in circus arts.
Absolutely.
It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of field.
One of the things that really struck me is that it's not about churning out cookie-cutter performers.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Circus arts teachers really focus on nurturing each student's individual style.
So it's about guiding individual expression through these incredibly challenging physical feats.
Precisely. And that brings its own set of challenges and rewards, of course, which I'm sure we'll delve into.
We definitely will. This is already making me see Circus Arts Teachers in a whole new light. It's so much more than just teaching tricks. It's about artistry, adaptability, and a whole lot of courage. Okay, but enough of the big picture. For now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What are the day-to-day realities of this profession, the good, the bad, and the, shall we say, more gravity-defying?
You know, when you think about it, there's that inherent allure to the whole circus world.
Right.
The creativity, the energy, the sheer uniqueness of it. It's almost like stepping into a different universe.
Right, you're practically selling the dream here. And honestly, it does sound pretty amazing.
And it can be. But like any career path, and especially one as physically and creatively demanding as this, there's a reality check.
Okay, so let's address the, maybe the trained elephant in the room, so to speak, the physical demands. The sources we're looking at definitely don't shy away from the risks involved.
They don't, and for good reason. We're talking about activities that, defy gravity, so the potential for injury is very real.
Which makes you realize that these teachers aren't just teaching. They're constantly mitigating risk
Right.
and making sure their students are training safely and responsibly.
Absolutely. They have to find that balance between pushing their students to reach their full potential
Right.
while also making sure they don't, push them too far.
And speaking of balance, what about work-life balance? I imagine the hours can be pretty unpredictable, especially with performances and rehearsals on top of regular classes.
You're absolutely right. Evening and weekend work is pretty much a given in this field, and depending on what they specialize in, travel might also be a factor.
So probably not your typical 9-to-5 office job then.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Which, of course, can be a huge draw for some people, but you really have to know what you're signing up for.
For sure. And I imagine the job market for circus arts teachers is, how should I put this? Specialized.
That's one way to put it. The sources did mention a potential increase in demand for circus performers, which could lead to more teaching opportunities. But it's still a pretty niche field.
So for those coveted teaching spots, the competition must be fierce.
It can be, yeah. Which brings us to another practical consideration, the income potential.
Ah, yes. The age-old question. Can you actually make a living teaching people to walk on tight ropes and juggle chainsaws?
Chainsaws, maybe not so much, though I wouldn't rule anything out in the circus world. But you're right, the income can be unpredictable, especially when you're first starting out. A lot of teachers end up supplementing their income with freelance performance work or even other part-time jobs.
So it takes hustle, dedication, maybe a good side gig or two. But with all these challenges, it makes you wonder, is it worth it? So let's look at the bigger picture for a second. The sources mentioned some interesting trends emerging in the circus arts world, right?
They did. It's not a static field by any means. There's a constant evolution of acts, technology, even whole new subgenres popping up.
For example, I need details.
Well, for instance, one source talked about the growing fusion of technology and acrobatics, like using drones, projection mapping, interactive elements. It's really pushing the boundaries of what a circus performance can be.
Wow, that's really fascinating. Sounds like circus arts teachers need to be pretty adaptable to keep up with all that.
Oh, absolutely. They're constantly learning new skills, experimenting with new equipment, collaborating with artists from other disciplines. They
Right.
have to be.
Which makes sense considering the kind of environment they work in. I mean, we haven't even talked about the day-to-day realities of circus schools,
Mm.
training centers, those kinds of places.
Mm.
It's easy to romanticize, right? Like, oh, the circus. But the reality is it can be a pretty tough environment to work in. These sources mention high altitudes, extreme temperatures,
Oh, yeah.
and the noise. Don't forget about the constant noise.
It's true. And that's just physical stuff, right? We haven't even talked about the spaces themselves. Circus art teachers have to be so adaptable. One
Right.
day they might be in some state-of-the-art training facility. The next, they're rigging something up in a parking lot for an outdoor festival.
Talk about thinking on your feet, literally. But, it really does seem like adaptability is the key here.
It's essential, for sure.
Physical demands, the creative challenges, this constantly changing industry.
And it's not just about, going with the flow. It's about seeing those unexpected situations as opportunities to learn something new, to try something innovative.
Which brings me back to those instructors we talked about who are incorporating things like drones and projection mapping into their acts. That's next level adaptability.
Exactly. They're taking the unexpected and making it extraordinary. And honestly, that's something we can all learn from, even if we never, plan to run away to the circus.
So with all these challenges, all this constant learning and adapting, how does someone actually build a career in this field? The sources mention something about a kind of tiered career path.
They do. It usually starts with assisting more experienced teachers, observing, learning the ropes, literally.
Yeah.
And as they gain experience, they might start leading their own classes, maybe specialize in a particular discipline. Some move into more administrative roles within a school or a company.
And for those who dream of, running away to join the circus, literally, what does that top tier look like?
That's where things get really exciting. Some teachers go on to found their own schools, their own performance troupes.
Wow.
Others become choreographers or sought-after coaches for, professional performers. There's a lot of possibilities.
It's amazing to think that, someone could start with a love for something like juggling or acrobatics and end up running their own circus school.
It happens.
What advice would you give to someone just starting out? What are some key things they should focus on?
Well, the sources all emphasize the importance of continuous learning, even after any formal training is done. Workshops, advanced classes, even industry conferences, it's all about staying current, networking, refining your craft.
So being a lifelong learner is key.
Absolutely. And beyond just technical skills, building a strong portfolio is crucial. Performance footage, choreography reels, even testimonials from past students. And of course, in this day and age, having an online presence is essential.
Which reminds me, all this ties back to those resources you sent over from RoleCatcher.
It does.
It's interesting how this whole deep dive connects to their platform.
For sure. RoleCatcher seems like it'd be super useful for anyone thinking about a career in circus arts or any field, really. They've got resources for job searching, interview prep, even just exploring different career paths.
It's like they're providing the tools and the information to help you navigate those career leaps, whether you're jumping from, a desk job to the center ring, or just looking for new ways to grow and challenge yourself.
Exactly.
That really resonates with me, this whole idea of embracing challenges, constantly looking for new knowledge and experiences.
Me too. It's a good reminder that those skills we build in one area of our lives can often translate to other areas, even in something as unique as, circus arts.
This deep dive has definitely given me a whole new appreciation for the dedication, the artistry, the sheer grit that goes into being a circus arts teacher. It's definitely a career path that demands a lot, but the rewards for the right person must be incredible.